Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending upon where you are. This is Scott Fuller from Smartsheet, and wanted to welcome you to our webinar on dashboards today. Very excited to be showing you this new feature. It is in preview right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that preview program toward the end. But very excited to show you this, and we're going to jump right in. So when we talk about dashboards, one of the challenges we had when we created this feature is everybody's got a different definition or interpretation of what a dashboard is and what it means. Some people think they're very graphical, analytical, lots of charts and graphs. Other people have the different kind of more links, landing pages, that type of dashboard. So let's talk about the challenges that we were trying to address with Smartsheet with our dashboards. Hopefully you guys can see the new slide now. Good. So the challenges that we're trying to address with our dashboards, I consistently heard when I went out and talked to customers that their team is spending a great deal of time taking data that's in sheets, pulling it out in a summary format, putting it into PowerPoint so that they could present it in status reports or to management meetings. A lot of customers talked about wanting to be able to share summary information with their customers or their managers, but didn't want to share all the detailed sheets that went with that. Another consistent theme I heard were people who have BI tools within the organization today, but they were overkill for what they were looking for. They didn't need a Tableau-style dashboard. They just needed something simple, a place where they could present the summary of a project or a portfolio or a process that was being managed inside a Smartsheet. And then another thing we consistently heard from customers was a lot of data inside Smartsheet, a lot of good information, but I need to get my manager in there without having to navigate workspaces and folders and sheets, and I just, again, need a landing page where they can get the single source of truth of what's happening on a project. So all of this went into our feature called Dashboards. Like I say, these are now in the product in the preview program. You have dashboards that can be shared to users. They're very easy to build, very fast to build. We use a widget-based approach. And what's great about these is you can create widgets, you can define the data source for those widgets, you can determine the level of sharing you're going to allow, so I can share these to people who aren't shared to all the underlying data. So if you're sharing these externally or to customers, they can see the dashboards without having to get all the detail. So what I'd like to do is actually look at a few examples. And before we jump into those examples, I want you to keep in mind a couple of different ways to think about these dashboards. The first is the summary, what I call summary at a glance. These are metrics. We use big numbers, we use colors, we use symbols, lots of formatting, but the idea being they're key metrics that the user wants to see, they can get their answer from quickly, get the immediate insight, and move on. The other type of dashboard is what I'll call more of an information hub. And this is links to information, whether that's information inside or outside of Smartsheet. It gives me quick access to what I'm looking for. So think about those two use cases as we go through these examples. The first one here is a very metric-driven view. You'll see there's a lot of big numbers on the chart here. This particular use case is up in the upper left, you'll see the number 750. There's basically 750 sites that have to go through the same retrofit process. So there's 6 major milestones that they're going to pass through. I need to get all of these sites through this process within a fixed amount of time. So down on the very bottom, I can see each one of the phases and the milestones it's going to go through, and then in the middle layer here I can see the number of sites that have actually passed that milestone. So using, again, the colors, the big numbers, I can quickly see whether I'm on track or not in which one of these milestones is my problem site. Here's a completely different kind of dashboard, and this is basically represents an HR resource center. And this is a good one for us here at Smartsheet. We have a lot of our HR information in Smartsheet. This makes it very easy for us to find it. So whether I'm looking for a quick link where I can enter a PTO request, whether I'm trying to get to the team contact list, or even link off to the site where I can submit a dental request. I have all that information right here. It makes it easy for me to find it. So this is a great landing page for me to get to any information about HR information. Okay, so before we go into a few more examples, there was a quick poll we wanted to do here. If everybody on your screen there can designate whether you're in marketing, sales, IT ops, project management, or other, just so we can fine-tune some of the further examples we're going to take a look at. And I think we're getting the results now. Good. All right. So you can see on your screen there, the majority of you are definitely have the project management use case, and that's the area of the business you come from. So I want to make sure when we go through some of these other examples, we focus in on those. Excellent. Okay. So speaking of project management examples, I think for the rest of these, I'm actually going to jump over to the live product. And you'll see in my example here, I'm actually using a dashboard to get to the dashboards I want to use in the demo here. So the first one we're going to look at is this project dashboard. Okay. So here's a dashboard that I've built inside a Smartsheet. This represents a dashboard for a single project. We will get into some multi-project ones in just a minute. But this is a great one. It's a landing page for everybody on my project, whether it's my manager who wants to check the status or team members who need to know where to find information. But I can come here. Up in the upper left is the latest status notes coming from the project manager. I can see the current completion date for the project. There's a symbol telling me whether I'm on track with that, and I can look at just general cost. All of this data here is coming from underlying sheets. As that information changes in the sheets, it changes here on the dashboard as well too. And then you can see I've got separate summaries for my deliverables, issues, and budgets. These are all being tracked in separate sheets. And I can quickly see whether my deliverables are on track. You can see I've got links to project documents over here and common links and forms and things like that. And then at the very bottom, I'm showing a report from Smartsheet, and you can see these are the remaining tasks on the project, given where we are now. Just to give you guys an idea of what it's like to actually build one of these or modify these, you can see right now I'm in sort of what we call view mode. When I'm viewing the dashboard, I'm interacting with the information. So if I want to link to one of the project documents, or if I'm interested in the issues, I can click on the issues widget here, and that will actually take me right into the issue tracking sheet for that project. But if you want to be able to change the layout, we just go into edit mode, and you can see now I can drag these widgets around. You can resize them. Every widget has a configuration screen. So in the case here, you can see where I can edit things like labels. You can edit size of things. You can define interactions, what to do when somebody clicks on a widget. So you have complete control over what these widgets are and how they get laid out on your dashboard. Okay, so let's go back and select a different dashboard to show you that's more focused on the portfolio. Okay. So this one is less concerned with a single project and is summarizing a group of projects. So whether it's a program or a whole portfolio that you're managing, you can see I've got a health indicator that tells me the health of the portfolio. I can see how many of my projects are currently at risk, and whether things are trending up or down. I clearly have a budget problem on this portfolio. We're running at 144% of budget. There's a heat map, which lets me see each row in that heat map represents a project, and then I can see how it's trending from a status, number of late tasks, number of open issues, percent issues closed, and then actual spend budget. But this lets me quickly focus in on this homepage redesign. Has got 3 out of 5 areas in the red, so that's probably something I want to dig into more detail on. If I'm interested in resources about the portfolio, I've got a set of links over here where I can get to the team contact list. I can get to the project resource center where a lot of this detailed information exists. Down as we move down, I can see the projects, I can see overall status, I can see when they're occurring. And then in this one example here, you can see I've actually summarized the top 6 projects in each of these widgets below, where I can see the project, I can see what the status is, again, how it's performing from a high-level metric standpoint. This rollout of a candidate tracking system looks like it's in trouble. If I click on that, that again takes me to the detailed schedule for that project where I can drill into more detail on whether it's the task or the phases that are in trouble. Great. So those are a couple of good examples of single project and multi-project dashboards. Let's go back to our dashboard here. I want to show you one more example of a simple project dashboard. This one is for a movie that's being made. I can see what the overall status is, completion date, kickoff date, what the budget for the movie is. There's a link that takes me to the workspace for that particular project. And then we've summarized all the milestones down below where I can see how the key phases or milestones and when they're occurring. Again, simple dashboard that gives me a landing page for everybody to come and find the latest information about it. So I did want to show you a couple of different examples, and I'm going to actually show you a couple of internal dashboards for what we use here at Smartsheet. Our marketing organization has lots and lots of information. I never know where to find anything, so they created what they call their operations hub. This is everything you ever wanted to know about our marketing group, but we're afraid to ask. So whether it's other dashboards I'm trying to get to, whether it's a team contact list, if I click on this here, it'll take me right to that sheet where I can see everybody within the company. And one of the things I like is down below in this dashboard, you can see individual people, you can see the role that they play in marketing, I can get their email if for some reason I didn't have it, and find out who's doing what within the marketing department. So great example of, say, not specific metrics or data that we're trying to surface, but just trying to create a hub that everybody can come to and see an organized list of resources available to them. Some more interesting dashboards here. There's one for store operations. Okay. This example here uses a couple of different things I'd like to highlight. One, this first widget is actually using our calendar app, and this is showing an image from that calendar app, which I can click on it and it will take me out to that where I can see the events and when they're occurring. This particular dashboard is for a lot of activity that's happening in stores. So whether I actually work in the store and I want to know what projects are occurring, or whether I want to see what promotions are happening, this is where you come. So there's a store communication summary of the updates. You can see how many updates will be occurring, who they're going to. I can see the list of projects of all the events that will be happening at the stores over the next quarter here, and different campaigns, and when those campaigns are occurring, and what the status of those are. And I can see whether these campaigns are trending up or down compared to what we had in the past. So again, very informative dashboard if I work in one of these stores or I work in store operations and I want to know what's going on. So what I'm trying to do here is show you as many different examples as we can so you can get an idea of the kinds of things that can be created with the dashboards. Let's take a look at this sales business plan. If you're in a sales organization and you have a business plan for the quarter or for the year and you want a single dashboard where everybody can see how you're tracking on that, this dashboard shows me a table of contents of where I can get to my business plan, where I can get to specific sheets that have some of the detail. I can see how my revenue projections are coming in terms of existing versus recurring and new business. I've got top 3 sort of action plans that I want to track and make sure that I'm progressing on. I can see a summary of that over here. And then I've got some other views and metrics here that are just showing me, if we look down, kind of what the key opportunities are right now, top customers that we're trying to retain and what that means to the revenue, and just an overall call plan summary. So this dashboard summarizes to me as a sales manager everything that my org is doing in terms of tracking against our sales goals for the year. We'll look at one more example out of this marketing area, which is the creative projects dashboard. Again, very project-oriented, but marketing projects. So we tend to have a lot of them. So you can see there's 851 campaigns currently in process. I can drill into other dashboards if I want to about individual campaigns or regional campaigns. I can get to key resources in terms of other documents that are out there. I can see which client reviews are coming up and, again, which projects we're working on and how they're progressing and how much, in this case here, the overall size of those. And then there's some metrics off to the side that just tell me number of TV spots, whether it's 30 seconds or 60 seconds, and whether those are up or down from our previous period. Okay, so we'll look at a couple of operational ones here. We use Smartsheet here, obviously, to track all of our BI requests. So all those requests come in via a form. And if I click on the Smartsheet BI dashboard, this lets me see how many requests have come in the last 30 days and whether that's trending up or down from previous periods. I have a link right here. If I actually want to submit a BI request, I can click on this and that will take me right to the web form to make the submission. And then I can see where these requests are coming from, by team, by status, and assignee. And then if I look over to the right, I can see where these requests are actually being stacked up. Carson Dunn seems to be a little bit behind these days. He's got the bulk of them here. But again, it gives me a quick summary. I don't have to go look at a detailed sheet anymore just to get a view of how many BI requests we have and where they sit in the queue. A much higher volume BI dashboard. Here's an example of one. This particular use case, much higher volume. There's 266 requests that have come in the last 14 days. I can see how those break down across the different teams that are making these requests, how many are basically new versus in backlog versus in progress. And then how many of these are late versus completed in the last 30 days, and again, links to more detailed sheets. So if you're wondering how do you get to all these dashboards, how do you access them, they are just like sheets and reports, so they will show up in your home structure. Okay. So we've been using a dashboard to get to my dashboards, but you have a new dashboard container inside Smartsheet. This shows me all the dashboards I have access to. They can also exist within workspaces and within my favorites. I guess I like the example here. If you have a lot of different ones you're accessing, having, in this case here, a dashboard of dashboards is useful. So just a couple more examples I wanted to show you here. One, just to give you an idea, we talked about the preview program. What this means is the feature dashboards has been released. It's in the product now. The only people that are seeing it out there in Smartsheet land are people who have been enabled by us. So they've essentially signed up for the beta or the preview program. And I even have a dashboard to track that. So I can see here the number of people that have requested accesses versus being enabled. I can see what their use case is for that, and I'm moving that fast so everybody can't read all the names here. If you're interested in being a part of this program and being able to have access to dashboards, try building your own, please contact your account rep. And one of the examples I'm getting is, or one of the questions I've gotten a lot is, are there examples available to everybody? So we actually have, believe it or not, a dashboard for that. So if you're in the beta program, there is a dashboard which welcomes you to the dashboard beta program. It gives you links where you can sign up for free training. You can submit feedback on the dashboards themselves. If you know somebody else who wants to participate, there's a link here. And then there's a set of examples over here on the right, which are many of the things we've looked at today, where you can see those. If I click on this here, it takes me to the report where those are coming from, and you'll have access where you can preview those and see them yourself. Great. Okay. All right. Are there any, I'm looking around at the room here to see if there's any specific questions that we want to answer right now. I have a few more slides to cover, but I wanted to pause for just a minute for some questions. One of the things that we hear quite often is, can we publish these dashboards? So I'll bring one up here. Publish is not in this preview program. It is a feature which is coming. One of the things you'll see with dashboards is starting in March, it will be generally available to customers in terms of a feature that's available to the whole customer base. Publish will not be available then, but every month we'll be releasing updates, so you'll see more widgets, and you'll see more formatting options, and you'll see more features throughout the year. So I would expect that you have the ability to publish dashboards to iframes or to web pages within a couple of months. Good. Okay. Another question we're getting from folks is just, how do we request access? At the end of this seminar, there'll be a poll saying, do you want somebody to contact you? Just click yes to that question, and somebody will contact you and provide a link to the form where you can submit the request to participate in the preview program. All right, so we've shown you lots of dashboards and the kinds of things you can do. I want to jump back over here to the presentation. One more example here that I didn't have live in the product, which is just another example of a dashboard, is this Getting Started. We actually use this for brand new users of Smartsheet. They can log into the product. The first thing they'll see is a dashboard, and this provides them instructions on how to get to intro videos, to templates, to solution tutorials and things like that. So again, another example of just a resource center instead of a bunch of metrics. Okay, so this slide here, again, good examples of all the different areas and use cases around dashboards, and the kinds of things that can be summarized, whether you're doing bug tracking, product portfolio summaries, event management. These are all different things that you should be thinking about in terms of data that's in Smartsheet that can be summarized into the dashboard. We do have one more poll that we're going to do right here. And this is, as you're thinking about using dashboards at your organization, you can let us know, who do you think is the primary audience for the dashboard or the consumer of this? Is it your immediate team members? Is it for your managers? Would you use it for executives? Would it be used as a portal? And if you can check one or more of these in terms of how do you think you would be using dashboards. We'll give you just a few more seconds here to respond.
Let's take a look at how we can build a dashboard from scratch.
All right, good. So let's take a look at the answers here for just a minute. Obviously, most popular is for your immediate managers, and that definitely is in sync with what I heard with a lot of customers. Is management saw the teams using Smartsheet, thought that the teams were doing very well with it, but didn't often go in and look at the data themselves. So that was one of the primary use cases we were trying to address, is to get the immediate managers into Smartsheet where they can see the progress of what's happening. Excellent. So, okay, so let's move on from that poll here. And we have one more slide that we want to take a look at here. And this is just to give you an idea of, besides dashboards, what else is coming out here. We've got a lot planned for the upcoming year in terms of features in the product. Obviously, in the top left there is the dashboards. We are taking a very user-driven approach to how we improve dashboards. You'll see right within the product in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that's labeled Submit Feedback. When you click on that button, you'll see all the suggestions we've had from other users for how to improve dashboards. You have the opportunity to submit your own ideas or vote on other people's ideas as well too. So please use that. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be putting out updates to dashboard every month for the remainder of this year, so you will see them, see more widgets. The question I get a lot is, when will you have charts? And charts are coming. We realized to do charts properly, we had to make some improvements to underlying reports, so we're doing that first, and then we'll have the chart widget. In the next month or two, there'll be a new card view. So if you're familiar with Kanban methodologies, Agile, the ability to basically take your sheet, which is a bunch of rows, and convert that into a card view where they're organized by vertical swim lanes. You can see those cards, you can drag them from one lane to the next. It's great for those teams that don't necessarily execute their projects using waterfall type methodologies, but want to use more agile approach. So that will be coming soon. A lot of updates coming out with our Office 365 integration. There's a Power BI integration available now that's in beta, and then Outlook integration available now, and soon we'll have a SharePoint integration. So lots of exciting things happening in that area. Integrations in general, we have a new Salesforce connector, which is in beta release right now, and that will continue to get enhanced. Soon we'll have Jira, and we also have available now a connector to ServiceNow. If you're using ServiceNow for any of your project roll-ups or project management, you can now connect those directly into Smartsheet, open your projects in Smartsheet versus using ServiceNow for the detailed planning. The deployment at scale continues to be a focus for us, so things like global templates, sheet metadata, master orgs and suborgs are all projects we have on our scope for this year. And then last but not least is workflows. Something we hear quite a bit is just more detailed notifications and workflow scenarios, being able to support those. One thing we have recently released in beta is webhooks. This allows you to connect Smartsheet to other systems and make more of a live connection versus an import-export. So that's being used actually in the ServiceNow connector, and will be used in some of our other connectors, and customers are using it as well too. All right, so with that, open up for any other questions that we have. I'm just going to take a quick look here. I think most of them have been answered by my extra support folks here as we've gone through. So I think we're in good shape. If you do have a question, over on the right-hand side is the GoToWebinar control panel. There is a section in there called questions. If you expand that, in the lower portion, there's a place where it says, you just type your question, so you can type that in and ask it. Yeah. I got a few more questions about joining the beta program, and for that, the easiest way to join, there is a web form link, and the link, the way to get that is contact your account rep, or at the end of this seminar, as you exit the seminar and there's a question that says, would you like somebody to contact you, we'll make sure that we send out the link right away to make sure you have that. Another question I got is, how quick will the dashboard be enabled after requesting through the account manager? It's typically taking us 24 to 48 hours to turn that around. Okay. We get the request, we review them. We are enabling not the entire account, but individual users. So if we get your email address, like I say, we will enable that. That will have dashboards appear within your account. You can create them and share them to other users who aren't enabled. In terms of when we sort of move from the beta into the general availability, that will be with our March release. And then another question I got is, can you create a dashboard for the resources working on projects in portfolio? So we don't support our resource management views in the dashboard yet. That is something that's coming. But if you are using sheets to manage headcount or manage resource assignments, some of that can be highlighted and surfaced on the dashboard. Okay. I did get quite a few questions about just how to create a dashboard in general. So if any of you want to actually see the process of what it takes to create one, I'm happy to go through that now. If that's more detail than you wanted for this particular seminar, feel free to drop off, but for those who want to see the process of creating one, I'll do that now. So I'm back over here in the product. All right, so I'm just going to go through this quickly. We've got every place you can create a sheet or report, you can create a dashboard. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. I'll click on the dashboard. You can see just create dashboard option here. Demo dashboard. And here we are, we have a blank one. So it's pretty simple. When you want to start building yours out, you first add a widget. We have 6 widget types available to us in this first release. As I mentioned, there'll be more coming, but the simplest one to illustrate how to use is the metric. So I'll click on metric, and we'll say add data. And the first thing you want to do is actually select the sheet where the information is coming from. So I'm going to search for a sheet called project list. I've got one out there. And this is a sheet that has a number of my projects in there. And right here at the very bottom, it's summarizing the total budget across all these projects. So that's a number I'd like to put on my dashboard. So I'm just going to click select that number. And notice that the column header is totals. So it places that number in my widget. It takes the column header and makes it the label, but I can easily change that. And I can do formatting here. If you want to make that larger, you can format colors. We will soon have an option, not in the March release, but the April release. There'll be a button here that says use the conditional formatting that's coming from the sheet. So if you do have numbers or dates changing color in the sheet based on formulas or conditions, those will flow through as well too. And then when you're all done, you just click OK, and you can have this widget on your dashboard. So pretty simple. You can drag it around. You can resize these. You see as I try to resize it, the gray dotted lines represent what it will snap into. You can go back into the configurator. You can edit the interaction. So in this case here, I want to open the source sheet if somebody clicks on it. And if you want a title on it, you can put titles that default to the sheet name, but you can say so lots of options in terms of formatting and positioning and things like that. If, let's say in this case here, I actually wanted to add more information to that widget, I can again double click on it and go back to the add data. And what I really like to do is show right underneath the total budget is the number of projects I have that I'm working on. So I'll click select an additional piece of data, and again that adds it to the widget. I can maybe, I don't want that to be bold, I want it to be okay. So again, you can add additional data, you can change the formatting, the size, and the placement. If there is lots of data that maybe you don't need to highlight into big chunky numbers like that, but I just want to display on my dashboard, I use the sheet data widget. Let's go back to that same sheet, and maybe there's a whole project here, this new ERP system that I want to select a number of pieces of data about. So I'll select that row there. And you can see it puts the whole, all that in a list here and formats it appropriately, and I can stick that again on my dashboard. One of my favorite widgets here is the report widget. Any report you've built in Smartsheet can be displayed on the dashboard. So I click on report, click on select report. I've got a IT allocation report out there that I use. And that brings in that report. In this case here, I'm showing all my budgets and how much I expected to spend on running, growing, and transforming the business versus how much I'm actually spending. So that's a key part of my portfolio. So I can put that widget and again, place it on the dashboard in the right location. So that gives you an idea of what these things are like to create. You say they're pretty simple. We find most of our customers do have to go back and do a little bit of work on the sheets to make sure that they have the right summaries in place or the right reports to surface the data that's appropriate. Good. Okay. I think the last thing is we want to do one more poll, or no more polls. Okay. I've got somebody else here telling me there are no more polls. I apologize. I thought there was one more. So anybody who's interested in the preview program, please contact your account exec if they're not already in touch with you. And we look forward to having you guys all participate. Okay. Thank you.